Welcome to the Dawgs Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Justin Charles and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode, finally, of the Dawgs Fantasy Football Podcast. We have been not sticking with it as well, but we've got good reasons. I think the first week we took off, we were at Brown's training camp.
Yes, that's fair.
Until like 5 o'clock, and then we had to rush to the studio from Cleveland so that we could do our main show. And then I had babysitting stuff, kids stuff going on. What was it, last week? And we have missed some time.
Yes.
But we are back, and the NFL season is kicking off this freaking week, and it is such a good. Dude, I'm like excited. I'm listening to podcasts and stuff when I'm driving the truck, and I'm just thinking, man, I can't wait for Thursday night.
Yeah, 2 days.
Man. And by the time this comes out and you guys are watching it, it'll be tomorrow night. And by some time some of you guys watch it, maybe it'll be Saturday. But we are going to break down week 1 starts and sits. So we're going to go game by game and just kind of evaluate each team, each matchup, and talk about the players that have a good matchup, the players that you're going to start no matter what, and the players that maybe you should fade this week, just depending on, their value and
matchup.
Yeah, matchup and all that kind of stuff. So I figure maybe this is what we'll kind of do throughout the season on this podcast. We'll do a little, maybe part of the first half of the show, we can react to what happened the previous week. Like next week, we'll talk about with the week 1 fantasy studs and duds and all that kind of stuff that happened. And then, we'll go through some matchups and stuff. So kind of keep it with that flow. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, before we dive in, please like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're getting close to 100 subs already, which, we're just a couple months into this
just bullshit
podcast. Yeah, just bullshitting around here, talking fantasy football. And, we have like no structured format yet whatsoever. We just got to sit down and start going. So
par for the norm.
That's right.
Par for the norm for us.
It pretty much is. I guess just a couple big news hitters since the last time we recorded. Excuse me, it's been a while. Guys got paid.
Yeah.
So most of them. Yeah. CD Lamb got paid, so he's good. He should be ready to go for week 1. I know he's on that the exempt list for a 2-game exempt list, but I think that's just roster manipulation so that he can get.
I figured all that stuff would be wiped. I would expect him ready to roll.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I expect him ready to roll. Brandon Ayuk, same kind of thing. He got paid, so he'll be out there this weekend for the 49ers. Jamar Chase.
Not paid yet.
It's an interesting situation because, again, he is a year behind these other guys asking for his contract. So he's kind of the first guy that I can think of who's done it with 2 years left on his rookie deal. I mean, like Justin Jefferson, Chase, or not Chase, I'm sorry, Lamb, Ayuk, those guys were all up for their new contracts. They were either in the last year or I think Ayuk was on his 5th year, Jerry Judy, these guys like that. But Jamar Chase, he's still got another year before he should theoretically be doing this.
Yes. So
I understand why, from a management business standpoint with the Bengals, you're kind of like, dude, not yet.
Yeah, I've heard different stuff about it too. Just like, sports radio, especially with, we live in Ohio, so Cincinnati's pretty big deal, even in Northeast Ohio. But I've heard a lot of stuff, like especially Cincinnati, like as an organization, they are like very against this. They're like, we don't do this. If we do this for you, are we doing it for the next guy?
Yeah.
And the next guy. To me, it's fascinating. As a Jamar Chase owner, I'm like going into week 1 going, I'd expect him to be in my lineup. But also as a T. Higgins owner, I'm going, man, is it finally time that we get full unleash wide receiver 1? What we thought we were going to get in the offseason when the trade stuff started talking. I think if Chase is out and T. Higgins is the one, oh, man, it's exciting.
Yeah, and it could be a good spot for Jermaine Burton as well.
Yeah.
Kind of right out the gate. So I don't know. If you're in like a deep league and you're looking for like a Hail Mary flex or, a high upside flex, I don't know. If Jamar Chase is not going to play on Sunday, then maybe you go that route.
Or what's the kid's name?
Yoshivas?
Yes. Andre. Yeah.
Yoshivas.
He'd be a streamer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And probably
he definitely
available
turns into a streamer.
A decent amount of leagues, especially like redraft leagues. He's very available.
Oh, yeah. Yep. You could throw him on the end of your bench and just wait till Sunday. And like I said, if you've got a questionable flex already and you're just not sure who to start, could be a guy to go with. But we'll get into that when we get in the matchup. But It's just funny. We talked to a salary cap expert the other night on our Browns podcast, and we talked about the Bengals and how he said they never guarantee anything beyond the first year's contract for their players. So that made me think immediately that maybe this is why Jamar Chase is doing this, because he understands that, or his agent understands that and says, look, these guys are cheap. They are. They're just a cheap ownership group. They don't like to dole out money the way teams like the Browns or, Eagles do. So, maybe he's just trying to get ahead of that, which I don't blame these guys for trying to get paid. I mean, if I was in that position and I had that kind of talent and that kind of, earning potential, I would do it too.
Yeah. You're basically just walking into your boss and saying, listen, I need a raise, or here's my 2-week notice. That's basically the move you're doing. And for him, it's not like there's a question, you know what I mean? Like where it's like, even like, let's say for like the Browns, they offered, Jerry Jeudy an extension based on, it's not like there was a whole bunch of like film and stuff like that. I think they're basing their contract off what they expect him in Cleveland. Like for this guy, he's already proven, hey, I'm an elite, I would say top 5 easy wide receiver in the league, easy. With a stud quarterback, a guy that you just paid and believe is the future of your organization. So very interesting.
We shall see what happens.
They should probably pay him.
I would imagine they should. Yes. That would be my advice
before the end of the weekend. You know what I mean? Get it done.
Yeah. Now, if it was Browns Bengals week 1, I'd say, you guys can
let that ride. Yeah.
But then again, it didn't work out too well for them last year anyway.
So yeah.
All right, enough bash on the Bengals. Maybe we have a couple fans who watch. I don't know. So let's just dive into the first matchup. Okay. Thursday night, NFL 2024 regular season kicks off. Ravens at the Chiefs. I'm just going down through ESPN's here. So they've got Kansas City 3-point favorites, 46.5 over/under, and they're giving Baltimore plus 130. So
okay.
Like we've kind of thrown some ideas around here even before we started recording. Lamar Jackson for the Ravens, you start him.
Start.
Patrick Mahomes.
Automatic. Start.
I mean, these are two good defenses.
Yeah.
Ravens and the Chiefs, but they're also two good offenses.
Yep.
And these are quarterbacks that in your fantasy drafts, you draft. I mean, just depends on what's going on in your home leagues. We had Patrick Mahomes, go in a first of a 1 quarterback league. I was like, okay. I had him go in the second round last night. He was the first quarterback taken.
Okay.
So Lamar Jackson's going in like the 3rd, 4th round, maybe. You have to invest to get these guys. So they're in your lineup.
Yeah. Automatic starts. Yeah.
Running back wise, I think Derrick Henry against the Chiefs, you just play him.
Yeah.
I don't think you don't not play Derrick Henry.
I think they run him into the ground. And as a Browns fan, I'm like, you hear a little noise. Well, like, how much does he have left in the tank? He's still, don't get me wrong, his like yards per carry went down and everything, but he still looked like he could absolutely dominate a game if he could, if he had to.
Let's not pretend that, the Titans are the same as the Ravens.
It's fair.
So he's definitely got an improvement in situation. Isaiah Pacheco for the Chiefs.
Start. Yep.
These are kind of no-brainers, but then you get to the wide receivers. Do you start any wide receivers for Baltimore?
So I would say no, but if you were going to, I would say if there's like a flex spot or something like that, or you were looking for like a high upside younger guy, Zay Flowers. Yeah.
Yep. And then one other piece for the Ravens, obviously you play Mark Andrews. He's back at practice. The injury from the car accident seems to be good to go. He's not on the injury report, so I think
must start. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously must start, but keep an eye on your waiver wire for Rashad Bateman because if he's healthy, right? For one of the first times in his career, they paid him. They extended him, so they obviously want him around. They intend on having him be part of the offense if he's healthy. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and catches 3 balls, but one of them goes for like 60 and a touchdown or something, and then all of a sudden he's a priority ad on the waivers.
That's fair. Yep.
Do I think it's going to happen? I mean, I wouldn't bet on it, but at the same time, if it did happen, be like, well, he's done this before.
Right.
Especially early in the season.
Yeah. I know when he was coming out of the, in the draft, we were like, man, this kid's super, super athletic, explosive, like checked a lot of the boxes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then he went to Baltimore and we were like, oh God.
That sucks.
And then it worked out decently because he can't stay on the field. So
yeah, we're saying that as Browns fans, but, So for the Chiefs, I mean, same kind of deal with tight end. Travis Kelce, you start. You don't even question it.
No question.
Wide receivers. I think Rashee Rice obviously is not getting suspended this year.
Right.
Or if he does, it'll be sometime later in the season. But for week 1, I think you load him up and you play him because he turned into like the number 1 wide receiving target over the back half of last year. I mean, they brought in Hollywood Brown. He's out.
Yep.
They brought back Juju. Who cares?
Yeah.
They added Xavier Worthy. He's a rookie.
Right.
He's got a learning curve still to go through. I think in this game, you can start Rashee Rice with confidence.
I would say that, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things like as a fantasy player, I feel like you're always like kind of chasing like that, especially with Kansas City. Like, who's that dominant pass catcher other than Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
And then once Tyreek Hill left, who is that guy now? I mean, you're 100% right. Rashee Rice had a role at the end. He started to emerge as a legit wide receiver option. I think he's an easy wide receiver 2 play / a flex easy, just starting off.
I agree 100%. Other than that, I mean, Xavier Worthy, if you want to flex him this week, go for it. I'm always a little hesitant playing rookies in their first game.
Yep.
I like to get a little more information. But if that's where you drafted him to be, then go with it. I mean, there's a chance he catches a couple balls, and again, one of them might be a 50-yarder. Who knows?
Right.
So
right.
You could strike some gold there. So the next game, we got our first, I don't know if it's the first ever, but it's the first that I can remember, Friday night game.
Yeah.
So obviously I won't be watching this. I'll be at high school football, as I'm sure most people will. So it's kind of...
I probably am in that.
It's just kind of...
School football.
Whenever they said they were doing this game on Friday, I was like, okay, well, I mean, yeah, maybe there's a Northeast Ohio thing too, where it's like... NFL's playing tonight. I got high school football.
Yeah, we don't care.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah,
it's a good game though.
It's a good game. Yeah, I'll watch it Saturday morning for sure before the Buckeyes. But so we got the Green Bay Packers are playing the Eagles in Brazil, so not really a home game for the Eagles. Philly is 3-point favorites, 48.5 over under, and they're giving Green Bay plus 120. So,
what side are we starting on?
Let's just start with the home team. Let's start with the Eagles.
Okay. Jalen Hurts.
You start them all? You start everybody?
I would start Jalen Hurts. I would start Saquon. I would start A.J. Brown. I would start Devontae Smith. Depending on my tight end depth, I'm probably starting Dallas Goedert.
See, Dallas Goedert is interesting to me because they've got 2 great receivers. They've got Saquon, but this is also Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Who... When he was in Dallas, I mean, I don't know if it was a Dak Prescott thing or a Kellen Moore thing.
Right, that's fair.
But tight ends were heavily featured.
Yes.
It didn't really matter who it was. If you were the Dallas tight end in Kellen Moore's offense, you always had a chance of doing something big for fantasy. So, yeah, I think if you got Goddard, if you didn't draft one of the higher ups, if he was maybe the first tight end you ended up taking, I'd roll with him.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. There's really nobody I'd fade from the Eagles in this game.
No, the only I think if you have him on your bench, I think he's interesting to keep around would be Dotson. I think Dotson, but that's like along with what you said, also a lot of miles already, a lot of miles. But I mean, we're talking about a kid that a lot of people liked coming out of college.
It's true, but I mean, he was also a former first round. Teams don't usually trade first round wide receivers 2 years into their rookie deal unless they're just like done.
It's not yet.
We're sold that this is not going to happen.
Right. Yep.
I don't know, but I'm with you. I mean, there is still a chance. Jahan Dotson's a guy. I'm sure he wasn't drafted in a lot of leagues.
He'd be a flyer.
He'd be like a Rashad Bateman. Just watch the waivers.
Yeah. Yep.
See what happens this weekend. Just be prepared to, if he comes out and he does get like 6 targets or something and 4 catches for, I don't know, 60 some yards, maybe he's going to be a little more
roll there. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a roll. Exactly. Packers. This one's going to be interesting. So, I mean, Jordan Love.
Yeah.
He showed at the end of last year. He's a fantasy asset at quarterback, so I think you start him.
Absolutely.
And then Josh Jacobs, because right now I think he's pretty much got that backfield locked to himself.
Yeah. And Marshawn Lloyd, I think, is still not practicing. I know they're trying to revamp
I heard that he did come to practice, but I don't know if he's actually doing drills.
Well, so what I saw was like, I think he's doing like a couple of days of consecutive practice and then like a rest day. That's part of his like rehab process or whatever. But
hamstring injury in training camp, first preseason game actually against the Browns. Those are bad for running backs.
Yeah.
So I think Josh Jacobs could start the season hot.
Yes.
Like big time.
I guess for me, and like I own Josh Jacobs in some leagues, I guess it's just which guy are you getting? Are you getting the guy from last year? Then it's going to be pretty rough. If you're getting the guy from 2 years ago, my goodness, can be very, very nice.
And if you get something in between those 2 years with the volume he should get this first few weeks, I think you're going to be just fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
you got to think he'd still be in at least running back 2 conversation easy.
Absolutely. Then wide receivers, I guess, for the Packers. That's been kind of the topic of discussion the entire offseason here is like, well, which one's the guy?
Yeah.
I think they're all just kind of the guy.
I think they're all really good.
They're all
just
good.
Hard to tell. I think there's guys do different things. Like obviously Jaden Reed kind of reminds me of almost like a smaller Debo, like kind of
the way they use him.
The way they use him. A lot of people like Tavian Wicks coming out, this year as far as like taking a step and maybe being the guy. Christian Watson could be the guy.
When Christian Watson's on the field and healthy, I don't know how you don't put him in your lineup.
Right.
Like if I drafted Christian Watson, I am 100% playing him this weekend.
Right. Yeah. And then you have Romeo too.
Yeah.
Which
Romeo
is a guy that,
Yeah.
Also he's got upside. So for me, I do have Jaden Reed in Dynasty, but the rest of them, it could be like almost like a committee. You could have one guy hot one week. You could have a guy hot another week. So it's just kind of risky to me. I'm not starting any of those guys unless I'm.
The only one I might start in like a flex would be Jaden Reed.
That's fair. Yeah.
If I drafted Jaden Reed, I probably drafted him to play in my flex.
Fair.
At least starting out. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and do that.
And if he does what he did towards the end of the year last year, then you're looking at 15, 20.
Yeah. 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 He'd be a good bet to score a touchdown, all that kind of stuff. Like you said, Dobbs, Wicks, guys I want on my bench. But I'm not playing this week.
Exactly.
And that's then fair. Tight end. I don't know. You playing Luke Musgrave? No. Okay.
Probably not.
You know what's funny?
I need to see something first.
I need to see. I actually, and this is, I have a share of Tucker Kraft. I actually think Tucker Kraft is better tight end than Luke Musgrave.
You think it's going to work out that way down
I
the
think
year,
that eventually. Maybe not this year. I think that though throughout this rookie contract, because they were both drafted like second and third round or something last year, boom. I think his talent will push him to the top of that depth chart and earn him more targets.
That's fair.
I just felt like last year, whenever he got the opportunity after Musgrave got hurt, he was more impressive. I think Musgrave's the better like high end athlete. He's got the athleticism. But Tucker Kraft, I think, is just all around
the better tight end.
Yeah. So I'm not starting either one of them either. So this week, let's just put it that way. But again, I think Musgrave's a guy that's probably on your bench. Kraft's a guy on waivers that you're keeping an eye on.
Sure.
So first game on my list because it's my star team, but this one's at 4:25 in the afternoon. Cowboys and the Browns.
I'm curious.
Tom Brady's first game.
Yeah.
Commentating.
Commentary. Yeah.
So Cleveland's actually 2.5 point favorites, and this has a 41.5 point over under. So it's a little bit lower on the slate in terms of overall scoring.
Yeah.
And that's because it's two great defenses.
Yeah.
The Browns defense last year, we know this was number 1 in the league at home, pretty much locked down, shut down. You're not going to do a whole lot against the Browns at home. On the road was a little different story. Cowboys lost some pieces.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is interesting because we're going to do a preview show after this for that game. But they lost some pieces on the defense, and we'll see. They've got 2 rookies on their offensive line. We've got Myles Garrett.
That's true.
It's going to be an interesting game. So quarterback wise,
yes.
If you drafted Dak Prescott,
this is where I was heading with you. Okay.
Are you starting him against the Browns in Cleveland?
So the crazy thing is if you're drafting him, you're drafting him probably 8th, 9th, 10th quarterback off the board, right? Somewhere in that area. So he's your QB1. In a super flex, I have Dak Prescott and I'm starting him. But I don't think that you can get too down on how things can go. You know what I mean? Like if it's an 13-point Dak Prescott game, I don't think you just pivot and go some other direction. You're playing the Browns in Cleveland. The weather, they're saying it's nice. Trust me.
They said it was good. Perfect example. Last year, week 1 in Cleveland against the Bengals, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a beautiful day. Weather forecast showed no rain whatsoever. It was going to be awesome. It rained the entire freaking game from start to finish.
Yeah.
Constant rain. Never stopped. Joe Burrow passed for 83 yards.
Right.
The Browns shut him down.
Right.
Now, if it's a nice day, it's not raining, do I think Dak Prescott only gets to 80 yards? No, I think he does better.
Yes, yeah.
But I don't think he does a lot better. I would fade Prescott this week.
Depending on who you have on your bench.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If you've got, and we'll get to maybe some other matchups later
maybe
on.
Like a Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, dude. If you took Trevor Lawrence later, because there were some, I had 2 leagues where he didn't get drafted, and I put him on my bench immediately. Yeah. I would play Trevor Lawrence against the Dolphins this week for sure over Dak Prescott.
Yep,
100%. Deshaun Watson against Dallas.
I'm going to be honest, probably not starting him. Unless, here's my thing is if Deshaun Watson is your QB and a QB1, then I don't think you really care about who he's playing because you're probably loaded at every other position.
This is true.
You know what I mean? This is it, or you've done this to yourself. Those are the 2 options.
You did not prepare well for your draft.
Either that's how things went and that's who you got. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's like leagues where there's like 16 teams, and I could see a situation. We just did a 12er the other night. It's easy to see how they can get gobbled up, but in a 1 quarterback, I think if you have Deshaun Watson, you're probably starting him unless, you have somebody else that's in the same range. But I'd take Watson just on the fact that you have rushing upside and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, we saw him last year. Again, that week 1 is a perfect example. The rain game against the Bengals, he only threw for like 170 yards or something, but he rushed for over 30, a touchdown, threw a touchdown, a 2-point conversion. He ended up being QB 5 on the week, I think.
Yep.
So, and in 4 out of his 5 games last year that he played before he was out with injury, he was a top 15 quarterback in fantasy. So the rushing upside is big for him.
Right.
And we have a super flex league, a dynasty, and I've got Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson as my QB2 type options, and I've got Watson over Dak this week for sure because I think that in Cleveland, with some of the pieces on the defense that Dallas is going to be missing, I think there's more upside for Deshaun than there's Dak week 1.
Sure. Yep. If you're in, and you have to start one of those guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So running back wise, Jerome Ford for the Browns, you starting him if you drafted him, or are you just gonna? If you drafted him, you probably got him late.
Well, here's my thing too: is if you drafted him, I guess what are we worried about just throwing him in a flex? You know what I mean? Yeah. Unless you're really, really bad up top as far as roster. If he's there and you're getting basically a starting running back, we've questioned his vision and stuff like that. But I think that there's times where you see him, he's extremely explosive, especially as a pass catcher. If you can get some pass catching out of him, serious upside. I would put him in a flex, but that's about it. I would think that, there's probably better guys that are on your lineup.
I think that's fair. I agree with that. And then for the Cowboys, if I drafted Zeke or Rico Dowdle, I drafted them late. And I'm not playing them against Cleveland.
I'm sitting both of them.
Yeah, I'm not. Those are definitely not starts for me.
We discussed it earlier, and I just I don't know. I think we kind of agree on this. I think Rico Dowdle is a nice piece going down the road.
Oh, yes.
I think that he's a piece that could take over that backfield, and I'm not even sure that it's not necessarily even his backfield already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we'll see what happens with Zeke and stuff, but I like him going down. I think he's got tons of upside, and where you draft him, you might not even have had to draft him.
I honestly, this is a game where I wouldn't be surprised if Zeke comes out with around 2 yards a carry at the end. I mean, the Browns defense, at least if it's the same as it was last year or even better,
should be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And then wide receivers, I think for the Browns, I mean, if I have Amari Cooper, I'm starting him.
Yep.
Because I think he can cook a little bit.
Yep.
And he can cook any secondary. I'm not so worried about him. Jerry Jeudy, I'm not starting. I'm not starting any other Browns receivers.
Yeah,
this
I'm
week.
letting the rest sit.
Actually,
Jeudy has potential, I think, and but I'm not starting him.
Yeah, and honestly, he's the only other one you probably drafted. If you drafted any, nobody drafted Elijah Moore, nobody drafted Cedric Tillman, so not worried about those guys. CeeDee Lamb.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. The only thing I worry about with Lamb, well, there's 2 things, I guess.
Okay.
The first thing is hasn't practiced. Missed all of training camp.
That's fair.
You always worry about those guys being a little bit behind on their conditioning and a little more susceptible to injury.
Fair. Okay.
How are the hamstrings?
Yeah. That's fair. Okay.
Because if we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen when these guys sit out the entire training camp. And the Browns have 3 number 1 cornerbacks in the secondary. So and the Cowboys don't have much else in terms of wide receivers. So
I'm very curious on that matchup, this weekend, as far as who takes CeeDee Lamb.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Martin Emerson.
Me either. Which, hey, welcome to, you've been in the league. You're starting to get your flowers a little bit.
Yeah, here's a good test.
Here is hey, are you a legit CB, one? But
I think most likely it'll be Denzel Ward.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it depends on what side of the field
Yeah.
he winds up on, but, is there anybody else? Like, I guess like Brandon Cooks, like Dynasty and stuff like that. And maybe Tolbert way down for Dynasty.
Cooks is a guy that like, I wouldn't play him this week, but if he's on your waivers,
he's got.
I think over the back half of last year, he started to really play much better and score pretty well for fantasy. So yeah, if he's on waivers, and honestly, if somebody drafted him, there's a good chance he gets dropped after this week anyway.
Sure.
Yeah. There's a good chance he doesn't do much in this game. Tight end wise, Njoku.
Yeah.
Fire him up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jake Ferguson.
Fire him up. Yeah. Yeah. If those are your guys, they're kind of in the same range, like that, 7, 8, 9 kind of range as far as tight ends. You're probably starting both of them. Yeah.
I guess my biggest word of caution on this entire game on all these players is I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of passing output.
Sure.
So, if you're starting secondary options for either of these teams, you're taking a big risk. I mean, heck, even the tight ends could be a little bit risk because I don't think there's going to be a lot of yardage to go around.
That's fair. Okay.
Two good defenses, and we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Big news, Dog Pack. We are thrilled to announce we have a partnership now with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert, opening up an incredible opportunity for you to join some of our favorite sports books and get the best odds and new user offers this NFL season. Head over to our dedicated page at signupexpert.com/dogs, DAWGS, to explore a whole selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with unique offerings for you. If you guys are ready to take your sports betting to the next level this NFL season, head over to signupexpert.com/dogs, DAWGS, and check out the new user offers and the best odds on all the sports books. That's signupexpert.com/dogs. All right, next game. Cardinals at the Bills. Buffalo 6.5 point favorites, and this is as a 48.5 point total over under. So let's start. We'll just do home team again. Let's start with the Bills. Josh Allen, you start.
Yes.
James Cook, you start.
Yeah, I would think so. Yes.
I don't know why. I mean, if you drafted him probably RB2.
Mm-hmm.
I know there were some leagues where I was looking to get him as my RB1. So he was an RB1 last year. I think he was RB12 overall in the season. I mean, the dude's going to catch passes. Other than Ray Davis, he's their guy.
Yeah, I agree. And they're utilizing him differently, finally.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Pass catching. Options
I don't
for
know,
the Bills.
Bro, I honestly, going into this week, I think the best receiving option for Buffalo is going to be Dalton Kincaid. You know what I mean? Yeah. So obviously not a receiver. I don't think that you can start any of those guys confidently. I think that you can have those guys as potential. Like if you have Curtis Samuel, what are you risking? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. He's great on my bench.
You know what I mean?
Great on my
exactly.
bench.
He could be that guy that he was in Carolina with the rush and,
And Joe Brady.
Yeah. And a ton of targets are open with Stephon Diggs out, down in Houston now. But
Coleman looks nice on my bench. I'm not starting Coleman.
Exactly.
The only one, honestly, the only receiver that if I had like a double or triple flex league and it's like, I got to put somebody in here, I'd feel okay putting Khalil Shakir in there.
Just because you saw it last year?
Yeah, and because now he's in his, I think, third season with the team. He's kind of the de facto. I mean, he's been there the longest of any of these receivers with Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be good for 4 or 5 catches or whatever.
Somebody's got to catch. Somebody's going
to catch passes, and I think he's a good bet to do it. That's outside fair. Of Kincaid.
Yeah. Kincaid, or which way are we going? Are we going back over, or are we going to a tight end? For
Buffalo? Yeah. We already said Kincaid. Just start
Kincaid,
him.
just do it. Okay, good.
I mean, this game, honestly, if you drafted a top-tier tight end in fantasy football this year, this is the game you want to watch. Because it's got Kincaid, and you got Trey McBride.
Yeah.
Fire his ass up real quick. So don't worry about that. Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I love Kyler Murray.
Start him.
Yeah, I'm starting him.
I think he's going to be one of those, like, league-winning. And the thing is, I was so high on Kyler Murray this entire offseason. I was targeting him in all my drafts. I didn't get him anywhere.
I know.
Not in a single one.
I got him easy last year because nobody wanted anything to do with him. I had him in pretty much every league last year.
People were kind of hip to it this year.
And now this year, I think people are very like on board with. I don't think it's crazy if he plays really well and things, obviously tough division. They're still kind of rebuilding, but I don't think it's crazy for him at the end of the year to have like fringy top 5 fantasy numbers.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I was going to say like top 8.
Yes.
So yeah, fringy top 5 for sure.
Absolutely. I think top 8, I think almost top 8
it's in his range of outcomes.
Yes. Yeah. With the rush, I mean, he can sling it.
He's a good thrower.
Yeah.
He's a good passer. Yep.
Can he stay on the field? I think that's the only thing.
Yeah, and he's only really been hurt the one time, right? He tore his ACL.
Yep.
I mean, come on, what quarterback in the league right now hasn't? I mean, they seem to all do this stuff. So
that's fair.
Yeah, Kyler Murray. It was for me. It was Kyler. If I don't get him, I'm going Jaden Daniels. So I have a lot of Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah,
that's exciting. I
was able to pad him with like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert,
insurance plan.
Yeah, some of these guys that like last year would have been those mid-round quarterbacks that nobody wants now. I'm like, I'll just take them.
Yeah,
fine. James Conner.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yeah, all day.
No Trey Benson yet. If you got him on your bench, just sit and wait and see what happens.
Yep. But, or if you have James Conner, you probably have him handcuffed. You know, you got one of the two,
right?
You know, depending on what goes on.
And then Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, I want to see it, man. I'm so excited.
Now, here's the thing: is like for me, I have no Marvin Harrison this year, just because the ADP was so high. I'm like, no thanks.
The price was too high.
I'm not. I was seeing him going first round, and maybe I'm crazy. Maybe at the end of the year, we're going. Maybe I'm the idiot that didn't take him at first round value at pick 9 or 10, you know, or something like that. But I think he's super athletic. I think if you have him on your team, no worries. Start.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we were talking. I said, I'm just not. I don't like to start rookies in their first game.
Right.
Typically. I will do it with Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
He's a different breed.
Yep.
Outside of him, that's pretty much it. I don't even think Michael Wilson got drafted in a lot of places.
He was available in a lot of my leagues that were redraft or, you know, a couple keepers.
He's a waiver wire guy that I've kind of got starred because if there's more passing volume than what we think, and it's not just McBride and Harrison.
Exactly.
And there's enough to go around to get a second wide receiver. I mean, Kyler Murray is a veteran quarterback on a second contract. The dude can sling it.
Yep.
So Michael Wilson could be a value. And if anything, like if Marvin goes down with an ankle at some point or something, he goes out for a game or two, Michael Wilson's your number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah. And then I think you can even start talking about like Greg Dortch or whatever.
Yeah.
A flyer, you know, because the ball has to go to somebody.
Yeah.
You know.
So those are just guys to keep an eye on. Boy, we got a lot of games to get through here. All right.
Okay.
Go a little quicker. So Patriots at the Bengals, Cincinnati 8.5 point favorites over the Patriots. This one has a 40.5 point over under. So low scoring. Obviously a lot of that being contributed by the low scoring expectations for the Patriots.
Fair.
Not necessarily the Bengals, but I think, let's go Bengals. Joe Burrow start.
Yes. Yeah. Start.
What are you doing at running back?
So, to me, I think Brown is the guy.
I do too.
I think it's Chase Brown. I do.
I do.
And so if you have Chase Brown, I don't know if you can confidently just start him.
I'd flex him.
I think that is, yeah.
If I was starting him, it would be as a
flex play.
Bottom of my, like I need to get an extra body in here because I have an extra spot to fill.
But that's the thing is week 2, I think I don't think it'd be crazy to have him in your starting lineup.
And even if they come out this week and it is Zach Moss gets the majority of the carries or something, I'm not panicking.
No,
because I'm not jumping to conclusions saying, "Oh, it's Zach Moss. Should have known it. He's the guy."
Right.
This is one of those situations where I'm just going to let it play out.
Yep.
If I took Chase Brown, I'm not freaking out about anything. I'm just going to ride it out. I took Zach Moss.
Well, and that's the thing. If you have, unless you drafted, let's say you just drafted Chase Brown super late, right? So you have nothing in. And even Dynasty, let's say you picked him up last year and you're just kind of sitting and waiting, and regardless, there's value.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So even if eventually let's say he is an RB1, people are going to come knocking. You know what I mean? So I'm very with you. I'm probably letting him sit, I think, but I'm with you. I think it is Chase.
And then wide receivers, we already talked about it when we did the news rundown. Jamar Chase, not sure yet.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on that. If he's not out there, then you put T. Higgins in
confidently,
with bold confidence.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you start to look at Andre Yoshivas.
Yep.
Maybe Jermaine Burton. Probably not messing around with the tight ends in Cincinnati until I see it.
Yeah,
I want to see how it plays out. Mike Gesicki, he's never really been a thing.
Yeah.
He was more hype than production.
That's fair. That's fair.
Eric All, I know, has some hype, but he's a rookie, so
yeah, I think he has dynasty upside.
Yes, yeah.
He's a nice dynasty stash.
Jacoby Brissett starting quarterback for the Patriots. No, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if you have him as like your third or fourth quarterback, hey, cool.
Yeah, that's a cool
nice
super
backup
flex insurance policy.
That's exactly it. Yes.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
Not in any starting spot for me. Ramondre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the offense this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with him. And if he's obviously, I'd have him in like one of my running back spots. I think he's going to be.
Oh, I have him in one of my. He was my RB2 in one league, and I was like,
that's
yes,
exactly
please.
where I'd have him at. Yep.
And then pass catchers. Not really, huh?
So to be determined, right? For me, because I invested in.
Are you starting any this week?
No.
Okay.
Not a chance. But
now go with what you were saying, because this is definitely a situation I'm watching.
Yes. Yeah. So I have some Demario Douglas, some Pop Douglas stock that I'm sitting on. I've got Javon Baker stock, and then the Polk kid out of nowhere. I feel like he's kind of come on, and now they're saying he might be like the star of all this. Like
he was their second round pick.
Yeah, could end up being like the one down the road, but to be determined. I'm letting all those guys. If you have those guys, and especially in Dynasty, I would think we would be talking about Dynasty at this point. Maybe Demario Douglas in redraft.
I have Polk in 2 redrafts that I took in the very last round.
It's a flyer, yeah.
Just because I want to see, like, okay, week 1, week 2. What's his usage? What's his involvement? If he's not hardly on the field, or his snap share is low, or his target shares, like he's getting 1 or 2 targets a game, I'm dropping him.
Right.
And I'm fine, because there's going to be other guys on the waivers. Week 1 next week, there are going to be guys on waivers that are priority ads.
Yep. And you never would have guessed them.
Exactly. So I like to draft those guys late that, okay, let me see what he does in week 1. If it looks like there's a path for him to become more, or things are looking good, I'll hold him. If he's hardly utilized at all, then I'll just drop him, pick somebody else up, because I can probably pick him up again later if things pick back up.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
That's 100% smart. I get that. That's good.
The only other person with the Patriots, like, if you really punted tight end this year, like, I mean, punted it, you can start Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
I think.
He's for me, he's like a nice bench piece. Like, I think he's got some upside as just like, and who knows, last year people were starting him and winning them games. You know what I mean?
He started the season hot.
Yeah.
And Jacoby, not a big downfield passer.
Right.
Kind of a quick first read, like, let me get it to my guy.
He'll throw it down there a little bit, but I just don't know who he's throwing it down there to.
That's true. So,
you know what I mean?
Hunter Henry, if you guys are hurting at tight end, you can look that way. So, next game, Vikings at the Giants. Minnesota is actually 2-point favorites in this one. 41.5 point over under. Daniel Jones. No, thank you for me.
Yeah, I mean, if he's on your roster, I guess like.
If it's like
it's
a 2 quarterback,
flex, maybe it's from rush upside. I don't know. I'm not even justifying it. I'm not starting him.
If he's your second quarterback in a 2 quarterback, you boshed your draft. Sorry, I hate to say it.
You better be loaded.
Yeah, you better have some damn good skill players. And who knows? I mean, maybe he, like you said, with the the rushing, but I'm not doing it.
He won me a championship game 2 years ago. So I mean,
he had one good year.
Yeah. Yep.
So what about like Devin Singletary at running back?
I like him. Where he was going, I think that there's probably you have probably better viable options.
Probably leave him on the bench.
But I love him as a stash. I love him as a bench piece, like one of those first couple bench spots that you drafted. I love him as he's a plug and play RB1 basically.
Yeah, he's going to get the volume, but a guy that, if you're looking at waivers for next, just keep an eye on Tyrone Tracy.
Yes, yeah.
The rookie backup out of Purdue, used to be a wide receiver, played running back for like the last year or two in college. There was a lot of good positive hype about him at camp before he had an ankle injury, kind of sidelined him for a while, but I think he was the first running back to get snaps after Singletary in the preseason.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's
the first preseason game, and the dude's electric.
Yep.
So high upside potential there if he gets a shot. Giants pass catchers. Malik Neighbors, if you drafted him, are you starting him week 1?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. So here's my thing. I only have him in one league, and it's a redraft, and it's, I want to say 3 wide receivers. So, yeah, I am putting him in there.
He's the one. Like, he is the one,
the guy.
the 2.
Yeah.
He's everything for them.
I was going to say, I think he just has a huge target share. And I don't know if it's going to look great, but I think at the end of it, let's say he gets 8, 9, 10 targets and he brings in 5 of them for 60 yards or 70 yards and a touchdown. Give me that all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Outside of him, though, I'm not touching any New York Giants pass catchers. Wandale, Jalen Hyatt, Darius Slayton. Okay, they're guys that just know who they are. Keep an eye on, what they do. But absolutely. I'm not messing around with anybody else.
Yeah.
Or the tight end, so we don't need to worry about that. Minnesota, Sam Darnold.
Superflex?
If you're in a superflex, the thing is the Minnesota quarterback last year was always valuable.
Yeah.
Normally I'd say no thank you to Sam Darnold, just like I did with Daniel Jones, but it's a different situation.
Quarterback-friendly coach. You got to think.
Better weapons.
Let him sling it around a little bit.
Justin Jefferson, I don't think you need to be too worried.
I wouldn't be.
I'm not worried. I have him in a couple leagues, and I'm not concerned.
I wish you were, because I would definitely be throwing you offers, man. I just don't understand it. I think that he's self-sufficient. I think.
Yes, he showed it last year. He had over 1,000 yards and only played 12 games.
Yeah. And it with a bunch.
And it wasn't even all with Kirk Cousins. It was with Nick Mullins and Jared Hall.
Yep.
He'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison, he's suspended, right? The first 6?
Yes. Yeah, reckless driving or something, or DUI.
DUI. Yeah. Was it 6 games?
I thought it was only 2, bro. But
2? Okay.
I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I should have looked that up.
DUI, 2 games.
So I guess you're not playing him.
Yeah.
Honestly, outside of Jefferson, in terms of the wide receivers out, I wouldn't worry too many.
No, Justin Jefferson.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then tight end.
You going Munt?
I'm honestly, you probably could.
He's got value. I think he probably has some value. Like if you really just said, I don't care about tight end this year, and you got to the last pick and you're like, let me take a receiver, and then you realize you have to drop him and get a tight end. That's who you got.
That's Johnny, right?
Yeah.
Johnny Munt.
Johnny Munt. Yep. So I think he's probably got some value. Like don't expect, a 30 bomb. Don't expect that. But if you're expecting
4 catches for 30 yards.
I was going to say, if he gets you 4, 5, 6, 7, what more were you asking for?
Exactly.
You know what were you looking for exactly out of him?
Yeah. So I think you can go that route. And then Aaron Jones.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect, honestly. As an owner, start now. Season long, I've got some doubts just because of age, and we've seen these older running backs switch teams and taper off. I think that he ended last season with Green Bay on such a hot streak. It was like, well, the dude hasn't lost a step at all. No. Like he was hurt for most of the season, and he came back and didn't look hurt, slow, old, nothing. No. Just a 3 touchdown.
I think he's going to be a beast to at least start the season.
Mm-hmm. How does he hold up?
How's he hold up? He's a guy that I'm just trying to watch the usage, see how much they're bringing Ty Chandler in.
Yeah, that's
because if Aaron Jones starts off hot, he can help me win some weeks early on, and then I can trade him.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
If I'm feeling like, and we'll talk about if it's happening, if we think Ty Chandler is coming in to kind of take over a little more, then we'll advise you guys. Maybe you should move off him. But to start the season, fire him up.
I'm starting him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm starting him in my league. If I have him, I'm probably starting him.
Pass catching is going to be huge.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. Next game, Titans at the Bears, Chicago.
Yeah.
With the rookie quarterback, 3.5-point favorites, and 44.5 point over under.
I would say, which side are we starting? We're going.
Let's go Bears.
Okay. You starting, Caleb?
In a super flex, yes.
Okay. In a super flex,
one quarterback, no.
That's so. I just did a redraft the other night. Probably it was a little bit ago, but so I took Jaden Daniels, and then pretty much at the next turn, I was able to get Caleb Williams, which is weird because the value was kind of flipped on him.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But going into that first game, I'm starting Caleb Williams. You know what I mean? I
figured, of those two, yeah.
I think just this week, just to see what happens. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be super nice.
Oh yeah, he better be.
Right. But I would say it just depends on your situation. Superflex, obviously, there's probably somebody that you drafted higher, I would guess, unless you let it ride for a while, and then you're obviously starting him.
Yeah, and then DeAndre Swift. I'm like, wait, I just lost his name. Yes, DeAndre Swift.
starting him if he's on my team.
Don't be surprised to see more Roschon and more Khalil Herbert than what you're going to be happy with.
Right.
I think this is just going to. I think it's going to be a mix. I faded DeAndre Swift so hard this year. I didn't draft him anywhere.
Yeah.
If I had him anywhere, I got rid of him. Like
I did that a few years ago.
I'm kind of out. But again, if you drafted him, you probably got to start him. So start him and hope for the best. And then receivers, DJ Moore, yes.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, yeah. Rome Odunze, I would probably hold off week 1.
Just this week.
He's the rookie wide receiver. I'm like, let's just sit on my bench. Let's just hang out. Let's see what happens now. If I don't have a lot of good options, you're okay to start him.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I wouldn't priority start him over somebody.
I wouldn't bank on 10 to 15 from him.
Yeah, like if you drafted him, but then later you drafted Tyler Lockett, who are you starting?
Ooh, this week?
Yes.
I mean, I think Tyler Lockett might have been a bad example because I think he's hurt heading into.
Oh, is he?
I don't know if he's even going to play.
Well, that is a bad example.
So
let's try somebody.
Like, yeah, sure, Rome, dog, yeah, all day. That's actually what I'm doing.
Okay, let me think about that then. So if you drafted him or you drafted, you kind of Josh Downs.
Oh, give me Rome.
Rome?
Yeah.
What about him or? Okay, we got some bad examples here.
Okay.
All right, I guess Justin's saying start Rome.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
On the Tennessee side of things, Will Levis.
I think he has. So super flex, absolutely.
Yeah.
1 QB, probably not. But I do like him as a stash. I think he could have a really, really nice season.
Yeah, he could be completely displaced as the starter halfway through the year and be a backup for the rest of his career. Or he could be a high-end fantasy asset and one of the ascending young quarterback. He is one of those guys that's like, he's at that crossroad in the NFL where we don't know what the hell he's going to be, but he could be either one. I could see the path either way.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks, but hey, at least he's got the path either way, right?
Yeah.
Some of these guys, you're just like, nope. Can he pick it? Never saw that one. Running backs, Pollard, Spears.
I don't know. I would say if I have those guys, man, I would probably fade both of them, honestly. Or at least let them sit just for a week, just to get an idea of what the usage is going to be. I think Spears has standalone value. You know what I mean? I think you could throw him in like a PPR league. He could get you 9-10 and get you in a flex spot all day. And then Pollard, I would think it would be Pollard as the one, but I don't know.
So I'm on the Pollard side. I feel like if you drafted Pollard, you can flex him this week.
Yeah.
I think you could even RB2 him if you had to. If you have to, I think you'll be okay. But I'm with you. Like I do want to see the usage. I want to see the splits. How much is Spears factoring in? But my big thing since we started the show back in June or whatever, they had Spears on the roster, 3rd round pick last year, I believe. And then, here's your backfield. New coaching staff and everything. They come in, first thing they do, sign Tony Pollard.
Spend money.
So that just, to me, that signals they at least intend to use him.
Yep.
And he looked good in the preseason.
Absolutely, yeah.
He looked very good. Yep. So, and he was, he's coming off that broken ankle last year, or foot or whatever it was. So, I guess we should do some receivers. I feel like Tennessee all of a sudden,
they've got
guys. They've got Calvin Ridley. Yes. Hopkins is okay now, right?
I thought Hopkins was out for...
Is he going to be out?
I thought he was out for 4 weeks.
If he is...
he went IR.
Okay. Either way, Calvin Ridley's a nice start this week, I think. Calvin Ridley, got him, I'm starting him.
And honestly, I know this is crazy. This is a flyer, and he's probably not on a lot of teams, but Tyler Boyd, I think, has some value.
The thing about Tyler Boyd is Brian Callahan knows him.
Yes.
Knows how to use him, trusts him, brought him in immediately when he got here from Cincinnati. Yep. So, I don't hate the Tyler Boyd call if you're in a pinch, like with a deep flex and throw him in there, see what happens.
If you're starting him as your wide receiver too, yikes, but
tight ends for this game. I guess you can play Cole Kmet if you have to. I'm not excited about it.
No, but it's a play.
It's a play. I don't think he'll get you 0.
No.
And then on the other side, Chig. Last year was kind of disappointing after his rookie year when there was hype and flashes, but last year kind of sucked for them too.
Yeah, he's a guy that I think has so much potential. It's just, will it ever happen?
His athleticism is worth betting on.
Yes,
I think.
Yeah.
But I'm not starting him.
Yeah.
But I'm not starting him, so don't take that wrong. This episode is brought to you by Bodden Sports. Bodden Sports is your one-stop shop for all your athletic gear. Bodden started out perfecting and manufacturing the best balls in the business. Yeah, if that sounded dirty, that's more about your mind than my words. But hey, it's true. Baseballs, softballs, footballs, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls, you name it, and Bodden has engineered the highest standard sports balls available. And now they offer more than just sports balls. If you got kids playing baseball or softball, Bodden has batting gloves and bats to go along with both game balls and training balls. If you're into basketball, Bodden makes basketball specifically for indoor or outdoor use. Heck, Bodden even has all the equipment you need for pickleball, which is one sport that I hear everyone is playing and yet I still never have. And I need to fix that soon. But don't miss the backyard game section of Bodden's website where you can order everything you need for this upcoming outdoor season. Pool balls, backyard volleyball nets, croquet, bocce, horseshoes, cornhole, and more. Right now, you can get 10% off your entire order at Bodden Sports, BADEN sports.com/dogs, DAWGS, and use promo code DOGS when you check out. That's 10% off all the top quality sporting gear you need this season. BoddenSports.com/dogs. All right, so maybe we got to fly through some of these because we're getting a little late here, so we'll just go quick. Panthers, Saints, New Orleans are 4-point favorites, 41.5 point over under. Derek Carr in a 2 QB if you got to. I'm not excited about it.
No, I'm not excited at all.
Alvin Kamara is probably going to get a shit ton of receptions.
Yeah.
I would imagine. He's the only running back.
Yeah, Kendra Miller's already hurt again.
Yeah, he's on IR. Jamal Williams last year showed he doesn't have much left.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to get huge volume out of Kamara. So
that's fair.
He's my RB1 in one league, so start him up.
Yep.
And then Chris Olave.
Yeah.
Yes, you start him.
Yeah.
He's a stud. And Shaheed?
I think
maybe
that there's potential for a huge workload, but I don't think you can just blindly throw him into your lineup this week. I
wouldn't start him this week.
No, I would let him sit on your bench, see what you got, see where it breaks down,
And then like tight end, I mean, I don't think Jawan Johnson's back yet.
I don't think so either.
Taysom Hill's interesting. If Taysom Hill's on your waiver wire, you might consider adding him because they've already talked about he's going to be like the goal line back.
Yeah.
And with we just talked about the lack of running back options they have, he could be in line for a big workload down around the goal line, which could be valuable to put into your tight end spot.
Exactly, yeah.
So I like Taysom Hill I would at least put him on my bench.
Fair.
This week, next week, see the usage, that kind of stuff. Panthers, you're big on
I think
Bryce Young.
And I'm not, but I wouldn't be starting him.
What about a super flex?
In a super flex.
Still make you a little nervous?
I would say if Bryce Young is my second quarterback in super flex, I've made mistakes.
Okay. So do not start Bryce Young this week. Let's wait and see how it goes.
I really, really do believe that he is going to have tremendous.
The upside of Dave Canales is good.
Yes. Yeah.
Running back wise, Chuba Hubbard.
Sure.
He ended the season last year hot. Like he was getting all the work. I think he'll get all the work. First 4 weeks is going to be great.
I think nice flex play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I got him RB2 in a couple leagues. I think he's going to get the volume. Wide receivers, Adam Thielen.
Nah. Deontay Johnson, yes.
Deontay Johnson,
I think Deontay Johnson.
I'm going to go back. I think that you probably could flex Thielen this week.
Yeah.
If you need to.
Good about it?
No, I don't feel good about it at all. No.
Yeah.
But he did show last year that at least to start the season.
Oh, he is on. That's what I expect.
It tapered off.
Yeah.
Now, if he comes out and catches 8 passes again week 1, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
If he only catches 2, I wouldn't be shocked. So if you want to start him, you can, but just don't get your hopes too high.
Exactly. I mean, Bryce Young's got to find there's going to be a safety valve guy. It's just who is it,
And then nothing really big on tight end for the Panthers. So then we go to Steelers Falcons. So Arthur Smith gets to go back to Atlanta on his first game as the OC for the Steelers. I love the NFL sometimes. Atlanta's 3.5 point favorites. We like to see that 42.5 point over under. On the Falcons side of things, I think you just start everybody.
I was going to say, and a 1 QB,
I'm okay with Kirk. Cousins has been a solid 1 QB league starting quarterback
my entire life.
He was like my favorite late round quarterback for years.
Yep.
I just wouldn't draft anybody. I'm like, I'm taking Kirk Cousins anyway.
He's going to be there.
Nobody wants him. Yeah. I'll take him.
But I don't think he'll rank probably like in the top 10 to 12.
No, but he will not sink your team.
I agree. Yeah.
Bijan.
Yeah.
Start. Drake London, start. Kyle Pitts, start. I think he's going to be okay this year.
Yep.
No, I think that's pretty much it.
That's cool. I mean, I
think if you, deeper league, if you want to flex Darnell Mooney, you can take a shot. I think he's going to be on the field. I think he's going to be involved. He's got downfield potential.
Sure. Yeah.
So I would, I'm not afraid to take a shot if I have to. I'm not trying to, but Pittsburgh, I'm kind of like, stay the F away. I mean, Russell Wilson.
I'm not starting Russell Wilson. I don't think I'm starting Russell Wilson as super flex.
It's just going to be such a low passing volume.
I think he's a guy, if he's on your bench, I think he's a guy that you use to get a trade done. Hey, I got Russell Wilson. I got a starting quarterback here probably for the next 4 weeks. What do you want to do? Yeah. What about running back? Are you feel good about either of those guys or any?
I feel okay if I'm starting. Honestly, if I'm starting either of them, I do feel okay. Cool. I think there's going to be enough rushing volume. The thing is, I think Najee's going to need more to get his fantasy points up.
Agreed. Yeah.
Jaylen Warren only needs like 6, 7, 8 touches. A couple catches to
have value.
Have a good enough fantasy output. So I'm okay with Jaylen Warren, definitely. Even though I know he is coming off his injury, but he said he expects to be 100%. So, like tight end, Pat Freiermuth, I'm not starting.
He's nice depth.
He's a nice stash.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it could work out, but Arthur Smith is weird with his usage on these tight ends. We saw it last year. And then,
how you feel
George Pickens.
I'd probably flex him.
Oh,
and, I'm flexing
wide receiver 3 him. Sure. It's 2. Yeah. I mean, if you drafted him, you got to start him.
You're starting him. Yeah. Yep.
And nobody else.
Who?
Van Jefferson, if you want to look at somebody to keep an eye on.
This is fair.
But that's it.
Yeah. Nobody I'm starting week 1.
Absolutely not. Jags at the Dolphins. Miami's 3.5-point favorites, 48.5-point over-under. I like this game. I want pieces in this game. I think it's going to be a shootout.
Sure, yeah.
I think Miami's defense is worse this year. They lost a lot of pieces, lost their coordinator, and they've got offensive superpowers. Yep. And I think Jacksonville's going to have to keep up. I think it's going to be a good one.
Okay.
So I'm starting everybody. If I've got any Dolphins, I'm starting them. I'm starting Tua. I'm starting Achane. I'm starting Mostert. I'm starting Tyreek. I'm starting Waddle.
Yeah.
This is there's not very many teams like this where if you got a piece, you play them.
What about Johnny Smith?
I don't hate stashing him. I would not start him this week.
Right. Fair.
He could very well not be involved outside of just playing the tight end position.
That's fair. Okay.
So
I think it's interesting. Like when
it
I
is.
saw the
Keep an eye on Johnny Smith for sure. He's the most athletic tight end that Mike McDaniel's had. Right. So from the Jags, I think Trevor Lawrence is a nice play this week.
It's fair. Yeah.
Against the Dolphins, he looked good in the preseason. I think he's going to be okay.
Yep. So you're starting him QB1.
If I have
one QB,
yes, actually, I have one league where I drafted Jaden Daniels, and who are they playing? Oh, they're playing the Bucks.
Yeah,
and I've got Trevor Lawrence as my backup on my bench. I'm playing Trevor Lawrence over Jaden Daniels week 1.
Yeah,
because again, rookie quarterback, better defense.
It's fair.
So Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Yep. Start him.
How about receivers? I'm feeling very good with Christian Kirk. Right.
Yep. Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
Start him.
What about the young guys? What about Brian Thomas? You starting Brian
First of all, let's just say Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
I didn't draft him anywhere. I didn't want him anywhere. I don't trust him anywhere. I'm probably not starting Gabe Davis.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, if you want to. Again, I just talked about how this could be a shootout, so they got to throw the ball somewhere.
Right.
Gabe Davis can get down the field. Could he catch 2 for 83? Yes.
And a touchdown? Yeah, for sure.
Yes, he absolutely could. So if you want to flex Gabe Davis, I don't hate it. Brian Thomas Jr., I've got him in almost every damn league, dude. He was so late. I think he's going to be their wide receiver 1. Okay. I'm not starting him in any leagues this week. But I have good receivers. He was always like a later receiver pick. I filled up my other spots. So
nice, a nice stash.
If I don't have good receiving options, I don't hate playing him week 1. Again, I don't necessarily like to play the rookies because you just don't know. But the preseason usage, he was out there on 2 receiver sets. Mm-hmm. He was the guy for Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to be stud.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you got him and you need to start him, you can do it. I don't think you need to be too worried about it.
Okay. All right.
And then we've got Texans and Colts, another fun one that I can't wait to see. This is Houston's 3-point favorites, 48.5-point over-under. Anthony Richardson, yes, you start him. Jonathan Taylor, yes, you start him. Michael Pittman, yes, you start him. I don't start any of the tight ends. It's probably Kyle Granson.
Yep. you want to take a chance on a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Jelani Woods is out for the season. So
Kyle Granson probably.
Yeah. Pick him up, see what happens for a week, you know.
And then
upside.
Adonai Mitchell, that's that rookie receiver I'm talking about where I'm not starting him. But if I got him, I'm very interested.
Yeah. Okay.
The dude's got some serious talent.
Yeah.
And then on the Texans side of things,
yes,
I think it's another one where it's like, if you got him, you start him.
Yeah.
CJ,
start.
Mixon, start. Tank Dell, Diggs, Collins.
You figure all three of those guys.
If you drafted any of the receivers, you drafted them to start them.
Yeah.
So you start them. Mm-hmm. Dalton Schultz, if you waited on tight end and that's the guy you went with.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, he can be productive.
He'll get you 6, 7, 8 points probably, with some upside. If he catches a touchdown. So
for sure. Yep.
Not a bad play. Raiders at the Chargers. Chargers are 3-point favorites. 40.5 point over under. Justin Herbert.
And a 1 QB, yeah.
Yeah.
And a super flex.
I'm a little nervous with the foot thing.
Yeah.
But.
Should trade him. Who needs a foot?
Oh, you want him?
Sure.
I'm just a little worried about the foot and the offense. But he's definitely a guy that if I got him, I'm probably going to go ahead and start him. And then I really just want to see how it's going to play out.
Sure.
Running back wise, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards.
I think if you have investment in those guys, I mean, if you have Gus Edwards, you're probably starting him.
I think J.K. Dobbins I would hold.
Yep.
And just wait and see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Gus you can start. J.K. I wouldn't recommend this first week. And then receivers.
Live McConkey.
I think you can flex McConkey and Josh Palmer.
Yep. Sure. Yep.
I mean, they got to throw the ball.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going to go out there and have 15 pass attempts. I mean, he's going to throw the ball at least 25 times.
Yep.
That's a low passing offense volume. So I think those two guys you can play. Tight ends I wouldn't.
I mean, and
Hayden Hurst maybe.
Hayden Hurst, I'm sitting on in Dynasty and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm watching to see what happens.
But I mean, he's in a redraft. I'm not all in to go get Hayden Hurst.
No,
stock.
I mean, I definitely have my waiver wire guys that I'm like, hey, if I need to stream a tight end or my guy gets hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, Hayden Hurst is on my short list of guys I want to see how it plays out.
Absolutely.
For the Raiders, Gardner Minshew, no. I mean, I think he's honestly, I guess. Okay, let me take that back. In like a super flex,
yeah.
If he's your second quarterback, I think you can get away with it.
Yeah, if you have Gardner Minshew, I bet you could get outrageous value for him probably because for some reason people just see the mustache and just.
I think it's the hair too.
It's the hair and the jorts.
Yeah, man,
yeah, it's the jorts.
Zamir White, I think he's got enough volume.
Yeah, I'd
you
put
can
him
play
in as a like a flex or an RB2.
Yeah, he'll get you points.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams, obviously you start him.
Yes.
And then Jacoby Myers, I think you can start him. You can flex him. And
what about a tight end?
Brock Bowers?
Yeah.
If you drafted him, you probably drafted him to start him. So yeah, start him.
Yep.
I think he's going to be involved. So don't worry there. Broncos, Seahawks. Seahawks are 6-point favorites, 41.5 point over under. Seahawks, I'm excited about this offense this year. I think they're going to be very fun to watch with Ryan Grubb as the OC. So Geno, start. If you got single quarterback, you probably don't have to.
No.
You probably got somebody else you like better. 2 quarterback, yes.
Super flex, yeah, for sure.
Start him. Kenneth Walker, I think, is going to be a stud this year. So start him. Metcalf, JSN, start.
Yep.
Play him if you got him.
Mm-hmm. You starting Lockett? Probably not Lockett.
You just said he was hurt, right? If he's out, you don't want to play him.
Yeah.
Tight end wise for them. Colby Parkins.
Noah Fant.
Noah Fant. Yeah. Probably not starting him.
Probably not starting him.
I'm definitely watching. I'm either stashing him or, again, my short list of guys I'm interested in watching. Broncos, Bo Nix.
I'm not starting him.
I'm not going to start him week 1 against Seattle. I think that's going to be a much better defense this year.
For sure. Yeah.
But I don't mind having him like in a 2Q. If he's like your QB3, I think Bo Nix is going to be good by the end of the year. I think there's going to be some growing pains.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it's going to be good. I'm pretty high on Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I did not start out that way. Javonte. Start. And you know what? And Jaleel McLaughlin. I think if you got him, you can flex him.
For sure.
I think he's going to get enough catches, and the few touches that he does get out of the backfield, like handoffs and stuff, the dude's going to pick up yards.
Yeah.
He's so fast.
Yeah, he's very good. Yep.
I think those 2 guys you can play. Cortland Sutton you can play.
For sure.
That's it. Yeah. I wouldn't start anybody else.
Yeah.
Dulcich is another tight end I'm watching on my short list.
I'm watching, been watching.
Yeah.
I need you to start doing.
Stay off the IR.
Yes.
Commanders at the Buccaneers, 3.5, or Tampa Bay's 3.5 point favorites, 43.5 point over under. For the Bucks, I think Baker, if you got 2 QB league, you can start him.
I need to see the offense
Without Canales.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before I'm like QB1. If he comes out and he's a top 10 to 12 quarterback, yeah. But I'm not sure. So I'm probably starting somebody else. But nice piece.
I'm okay personally in a 2 QB. As a QB2, yeah. I don't think he's going to submarine your week or anything. No. Yeah, the upside I don't think is as high as some people might think. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Rashad White, obviously you start.
Yeah.
Bucky Irving, keep an eye on.
For sure.
I think you should. I think if you don't have Bucky Irving, he's on your waiver wire, go stash him.
Yep, absolutely.
I really do. I think that, and it might not ever happen. Maybe Rashad White is just that guy.
The next Sean Tucker.
But we have, exactly. But we've always been talking, fantasy community is always talking, who's going to take Rashad White's job because he's just not very efficient.
Right.
Well, this could be Bucky Irving.
Okay.
So hearing a lot of buzz about that. Mike Evans, start. Stud.
Yep.
Chris Godwin, start.
Probably starting him, yeah.
Jalen McMillan.
I have picked up on him.
I'm stashing him,
yes.
Stashing, or man, am I keeping an eye on him?
He became like I'm the new Trent Palmer.
Yes.
I'm that guy, but I have some serious upside.
Yes.
So I feel like it kind of
in Dynasty, him and just lock him up because I think he'll be their like wide receiver 2 within 3 years of his rookie
Yeah.
I think he can grow into that. So tight end wise, Cade Otton.
I like him as a depth piece.
Yeah, and if you absolutely have to start him, he plays like pretty much 100% of the snaps.
Yeah.
He runs 100% of the routes. He just doesn't get the targets. He's still young, so maybe he's got room to grow and create separation. I don't hate the play. For the Commanders, Jaden Daniels, again, I got a situation where I'm not playing him, but if he was the guy drafted to start, I'm going to go ahead and do it.
In a super flex, I'm starting him.
He's going to run enough. Probably. I think he'll be okay. Brian Robinson,
yes.
Start. Austin Eckler?
No?
I think there might be enough passing work for Eckler.
Sure.
Just since they traded Dotson, I just don't know who else they really got. I mean, Terry McLaurin, start. Don't worry about him.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't start any other receivers.
No. And,
I mean, Zach Ertz, again, if you're in a pinch at tight end.
I would even be, if you're in a pinch, I would go look for Benson Ott.
Send it. I would stash. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what his involvement's going to be. Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm down the road. I'm stashing. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, okay, we got 2 left. We are going to wrap this thing up.
Okay.
Actually, we need to because we got 10 minutes till the next show.
Yeah. Blake's going to come walking in here and just.
Yeah. All right. So we'll just say Rams, Lions, start everybody.
Sure.
Yeah. Pretty simple. Rams, start everybody.
I'm starting everybody except for tight end.
Okay. Colby Parkinson's a guy that you want to keep an eye on.
And by start everybody, I mean probably Puka, Cooper, Kieran Williams, Stafford.
Yes. Easy enough.
Yeah.
And then the last game, sorry guys, we are rushing through this again. Jets 49ers on Monday night. 49ers. I mean, this would be 2 good defenses here. This is going to be kind of similar to the Dallas-Cleveland game, I think.
Yeah.
And, the way we previewed that. But
what side do you want to start?
Let's just go 49ers. I think Brock Purdy and the 2 QB you start.
I think you even could make the argument.
Yeah, he's not going to kill you in a 1 QB.
Yeah. CMC.
CMC is a duh. You start. You stash Jordan Mason.
Yeah,
and
just in case.
And if your CMC owner in your league doesn't have Jordan Mason, you stash Jordan Mason. I've done it everywhere because you just never know.
Yep.
That is such a high value handcuff. It's crazy. And then Debo, IU, Kittle.
Sure.
You start.
Yeah. I guess Kittle for me depends on who you have. But I mean, if you have Kittle, you're probably starting Kittle.
Yeah. And then for the Jets, Rodgers, I think 2 QB.
Yeah.
You can get away with it. I think it'll be okay.
Yeah. I'm not starting him 1 QB.
No, not one.
I'm honestly not even really, I don't want to sound like a hater or anything, but I'm really not probably invested other than.
I haven't invested at all either. So,
yeah.
Breece Hall.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Garrett Wilson.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Mike Williams. I'm not starting him.
I'm not starting him. And then I'm very leery of him.
Yeah, me too.
He just gives me, I'm going to get hurt during the most important times of your season vibes as a fantasy owner. So
Tyler Conklin's the other guy at tight end that
I think you
might want to stash
cool
him.
Stash. Yeah, I think he's an interesting stash.
Yeah, I would stash. I wouldn't just keep an eye on him. I would stash.
Yep.
So. Okay. Sorry, we had to ramp that up toward the end. Maybe we won't be doing too many previews. We'll see how the next week goes because we'll be doing a lot of reactions.
Yeah, I have a feeling
talking about what happened. Into
like 4 episodes.
Yeah, I know.
Set for a month.
This is crazy. Okay, but that was fun. So we did our week 1 starts and sits. Good preview show. Hopefully, you guys let us know. Let us know what you think. Let us know how your drafts went. Draft weekend, the big one, just finished up.
Yes.
NFL season is about to start. Fantasy is going to start. So let us know. Were you happy with your drafts? Did you come away with, some stud running backs, stud receivers? What method did you use? Zero RB, hero? Yeah. What'd you do? We just want to hear about it.
Yeah. So. Did you get fleeced in a trade? I did today.
Yeah. Did you get fleeced in a trade? Or did you fleece somebody?
Did you fleece somebody? Or did you think you were fleecing and then got fleeced?
And if you've got trade questions during the season, drop them in the comments. We will love to just give you our input. Even if it's just like, hey, you're pretty sold on a trade, but I wonder what these guys think about it. Just drop it in there. We'll definitely get back to you.
I have a feeling, too, I'm going to talk to you about this, but I think we need to bring in a segment, maybe like a top 3 waiver pickup.
Yeah, we're going to need to do that.
We're going to have to add that into the...
Maybe some like buy low, sell high candidates. And we might have to do more than one show a week. Uh-oh, this show's going to grow. Okay, well, appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week after week 1, so enjoy the first week of football. We know we will. So
absolutely.
Have fun, everybody. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Fantasy Football Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow the podcast on social media at the Dawgs Fantasy.
This episode is brought to you by Danger Coffee. We talk about how Danger Coffee is made free from mold toxins that are in 45% of the world's coffee, but that's not all that Danger Coffee has to offer. Mineral and nutrient deficiencies are a big deal. They make you feel sick, tired, stressed, and they can give you brain fog. These deficiencies negatively affect your immune system, your digestion, sleep, metabolism. Have you ever wondered why you get an initial burst from your coffee, but then you get that little crash not long after? Danger Coffee's patent-pending process remineralizes your body with more than 50 trace minerals and electrolytes, leaving you more energized, engaged, powerful. These micronutrients enter the cells to boost performance. They bind to toxins to provide detoxification support. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line, guys, is minerals matter, and most of us really don't get enough of them on a daily basis. Danger Coffee delivers micronutrients, plus it gives you access to the minerals you already have. Head to dangercoffee.com, use our code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 10% off your order, and that code can be used over and over, so you get 10% off every order you make using code DAWGS. It's time to start every day off with a cup of coffee that gets you going and actually keeps you going. dangercoffee.com, code DAWGS.